Hey guys, so I am going to start doing repairs for Ownboard because they like my other repair video. So I'm going to start repairing some of their Ownboards that are out of warranty. And this seems like one of their earlier Ownboard Bamboo GT. So it doesn't power up at all. Alright, so the problem right now, I'm going to have to check the battery. So I opened it up. And I'm going to go ahead and check the battery voltage real quick here. And hopefully we have a live battery. So I've got a fluctuating battery. It's like literally like 10 volts. It's fluctuating between 9.5 and somewhat like 6 volts. So it could be a bad battery, but I'm going to go ahead and disconnect the USB module here. That could actually stabilize things. The USB module always seems to cause trouble. So I've disconnected the USB module. Now the battery itself is completely by itself. So we should get a clean voltage now, hopefully. And now I'm getting 39.9 volts. So exact same thing that happened with my board. So the battery's fine. This is a 10S 4P. So it fully charges 42 volts. It's getting 40 volts. So it's not fully charged, but probably something wrong with the BMS. The BMS usually goes bad. So I'm going to go ahead and open up this panel here. And I'm just going to be really careful here. And just open up. All right, this is the exact same thing. Now, you don't have to open the rest. BMS is in this first cell over here. So you just got to get this thing out. And just be careful not to short anything, because that can create fire. Just go at the ends over here. And let's see if I can just pull this guy out. Alright. I will call it a surgery. My first patient here at DrESkateboard here. So there's a lot of silicone you're going to have to get through. Just try to work through here. Get some of the silicone off. So just use your knife and just glide along the top of it so you don't actually short anything inside it. And then you should be able to sort of pull all the silicone off. Don't worry about it. We can apply. This is just regular silicone. Just get all that silicone on top so you can actually get it out. And this is a very good waterproof design, by the way. It's not bad at all. So the good news is the battery's fine. Just the BMS probably went bad, which is probably what happened to mine also. Should be a pretty easy fix. The good thing is I do have a bunch of BMSs sitting in my house. Try to make this also bypass BMS for discharge. Because that way, even if your BMS goes wonk, you can still ride your board. But the problem with going through the BMS, especially a faulty BMS, like on the older models of the Ownboard here, is that you're not going to even be able to ride the board. Of course, you don't want to ride the board when your BMS is faulty, because you can't charge. But if you're riding and if your BMS is bad, that would be even real bad news. Get all this silicone off. Yeah, this silicone is just really nicely waterproof, though. This is good news. All the silicone is very unnecessary, in my opinion. And there's a sticker holding this down. Just slowly trying to get the adhesive off. And see the rest of this. All right, let's slowly just pull it out. All right, look at all this extra silicone. Like I said, you can reapply it, so don't worry about the silicone. All right, that should be good enough. So the BMS has probably gone bad, and we're gonna have to take this apart. Now I do need to find out the leads here. So let me go ahead and show you. So that's the balance board BMS, and I need to just unhook this, and I'm gonna have to maybe get I might want to get the new BMS from Ownboard, so I'll maybe have to wait for that part because I do have BMS, but I'm not sure it's gonna fit. But if it does, I'll be able to use that also. But let me go ahead and test out the voltages here. Now, I'm not sure how the BMS is in there. I think there's some screws in there. I'll have to take this off real quick. Let's go ahead and pull the BMS so we can replace it. But this is definitely a BMS problem. So just for testing, I can go ahead and put a 10S battery, 10S 4P, same 10S 4P. And let's see if the board powers up. So we just know it's nothing else. And it does power up. Let me actually go ahead and grab a remote, reprogram it. Since I can get a remote. Okay, you can reprogram really easily. Just hold down the button until it's blinking. You can also hold it down. Now it's programmed. All right, so it's running nicely. So nothing wrong with the motors, but I do see it's the belts are really loose here. A little too loose for my liking. Maybe I'll, yeah, it's working fine. So the board is working fine. And sorry for the camera angle. I've got all my stuffed camera equipment in my bag for my trip to Korea. So if you want to swap out with a third-party BMS, basically this is how the wiring goes. This is the negative end. This is the negative terminal of your whole battery pack. Right here would be +1, +2, and then you got +3, +4, +5, +6, +7, +8, +9, +10. And then your C- wires is here, and this is your discharge. Now, if you want to bypass your discharge from BMS, you can connect to the negative B-, which what I did last time. So I'm going to try to swap it out with a third-party BMS, but I want to first have to make sure it fits. If it fits, if it's thin enough, then we should be able to do a quick discharge operation here, and we should be done. Hi guys, so in order to put a aftermarket BMS, you'll want to get something that's not too big, because with this battery in there, just put it in real quick here. All right, you've got literally this much space, which this is actually perfect for once I take the existing BMS out. If you use a larger BMS, you might be able to fit it under here. But the thing is that you will probably not want to do it, because I believe there's a heat sink here, and you're going to ruin the heating dissipation. So if you get a smaller BMS, you'll be able to fit it. Now you want to bypass the discharge, which means right now it's going off the BMS. And what's probably happening is putting a lot of stress on the BMS, and that's probably a fail. Also, if your BMS fails during your ride, then you could potentially fall off the board. So what we're going to do is just ignore the P-, which is the discharge, and we're going to go ahead and connect this directly to the negative terminal. So how this pack goes is a 10S, let me just take this out. This is a 10S4P, all right? There's 4 cells. This is a P group. This is going to be the main negative terminal. All right, this is going to be +1, +2, +2, +3, +4, +5, so on until you reach the last one somewhere here, +10. All right, so you need to connect all the wires. Now, this BMS is designed for this particular board because most BMSs actually have 10 wires, but you only see 8. The reason is that they try to save space, and so the +1 is actually soldered to the middle of the board, and +2 is over here. Now this wire, the black wire, very important. This is what connects the second P group to the third P group here. So we'll have to take this wire out. And if you take a look, if you take it out, just sort of wiggle it out of there after you take the silicone out, you'll see here that it's like a 90 angle. You see the 90 angle? You can see spot weld, and then there's a nickel coming out, and they spot weld it. So you gotta basically use a solder and unhook these two, right? And all we're gonna do is hook up the negative to the discharge to the negative terminal of that, of one of these. They're the same. These are the same. These two are the same. And as far as all the connections, so you're going to have to connect B1, B2, anywhere here, 1 or 2, and then B3, battery 3 plus 3 is going to be here, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So what I'm going to actually do is, since I can't get the whole board out and I don't want to lose the track of this, so I'm just going to cut the wire and splice it to the balanced wire, right, without the balancer. So I'm going to leave, so the negative will connect the B-, all right, this will connect basically to your negative terminal here. All right, that's going to be the B-, and then +1 is going to be the next one. This is going to go in the center, and then +2. So I'm going to start at +2, since the wires I can just cut them and splice them, and I'm going to go +2 through 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, sorry, B2. 2 plus will go here. All right, that's +1, +2, and then +3 through 10. So I'm going to grab the +3. This is the +3rd wire from the after the black one. That's going to go to the first wire over here, B3, B4. Now they made it all confusing because they use red and black wires. But basically it's +3, +4, +5, +6, +7, +8, +9, +10. So I'm going to connect those two, so they're already wired and they're not going to short anything, and I'll have it in order. And then I will unsolder all these wires and make sure to insulate them while you work on them, because you don't want it shorting, because this is already a connected, this is a live battery. Whereas if you're building your own batteries, you would be able to work on it without having live power to it. Because if you short it, you could potentially cause a fire or cause these battery packs to short, and then you might have to open it up. So just be aware when you're working on this, you cut the wire, don't short it. Alright, so I'm going to actually insulate everything before I work on it, because just sometimes I move the wire around and then I'm shorting my stuff, and it just, not worth it. If you can use some cheap masking tape, like painter's tape, even that stuff will insulate fine for temporarily. So let me go ahead and work on that. I'm going to go ahead and, like I said, connect P3 to 10 to the new balance wire, and we'll be back. just going to insulate everything that I'm not using right now because I'm just working with the P3 through whatever. Just cheap tape will help me save from accidental damages. Because you see, I'm going to try to cut this real small wire here. It might become a problem when I'm pulling it. These things do come out. I'm going to try to first pull on it. See if I can just pull it out. Okay, I'm going to cut the first wire here. Alright. And let me go ahead and just double check it should start with the black wire. Oh fudge. Alright. Let me just double check the voltage here. So it's going to be black, red, black, red, black, red. This should give me 12 volts. This is P3. So connect to the negative terminal and measure it out. 12.2 volts. 12.2. So that's it. So I got to start with black, and I'm going to go ahead and measure this out. So I'm going to start with P3, and I'm just going to give it enough slack so I can go be able to put this in there, because it's probably going to go like that. So yeah, so let me just go ahead and cut P3 over here, and I'm going to have to solder this on there just like that. Another reason why you need some tape under there is because if the solder falls on the board, that could potentially short everything. So let's just put some paper. I'm just going to put some paper under it, just because when I'm putting the solder on, I don't want that thing to drip on it. Also, I got some nice shrinks, heat shrinks. These are actually self-adhesive. There's glue inside the heat shrink. So when you heat shrink it, it's just going to be real flawless. I don't need this whole thing, so I'm going to cut it in half. And use that. Let's go ahead. So that should be more than enough. I'm going to go ahead and connect. I'm going to insert it in here. Alright, and let's go ahead and connect the first one here. By the way, I highly recommend this particular solder. It's 110 220 volt compatible. It's just one wire, and it's got temperature control. It's very easily portable. And we're going to go ahead and set it to around 600. Also, use very good solder. It makes soldering so much easier. This is a Kester leaded solder. I usually like to go around 600. Let's see what my previous setting was. About 650 should be good. Fahrenheit. Okay, I think I set it a little too high, because sometimes you want it higher if you want to solder something quicker. Let me bring it down to about 650 should be plenty of power. Okay, 640, something like that should be good. So I'm just gonna apply a little bit of solder onto this end. There we go. Very good connection. I'm going to go ahead and put this guy right over it. And you're going to need a heat gun or hair dryer. Don't use a lighter when doing this part. And I'm just going to go ahead and shrink wrap it. Okay, that's the right tight on secure. Alright, next I'm going to go ahead and grab the next wire. It's very hard to see. Jesus. Okay, it's this wire here. The wires are so damn short, that's just really hard to work with here. Go ahead and cut it as close as possible. Right. And I'm going to go ahead and put some tape over it. You can go ahead and measure the voltage again, just to make sure for the first few ones. I just want to make sure I'm going in the right order, that way I don't have to worry about it. Alright, 16 volts. So that is P4. Let's go and apply a little bit of solder. Alright. Don't forget your shrink wrap. If you don't have your shrink wrap, you can also use electrical tape. But obviously shrink wrap is a little bit more professional looking. Just apply a little bit of solder to both, and then it should be just a simple, oops, sorry, I'm working in my garage, it's not my desk, and got everything packed, so I don't really want to move. But let's go ahead and get this one there. That's very tight. It's sticking out. Oh. Let's make that a little bit cleaner. Alright. Just make sure your soldering work. There's no sharp edges. You'll be fine. Alright, those two are probably the hardest because the wires are short. But the rest should be pretty easy. Okay, and the next one. So these wires are just way too close to each other. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and grab the minus here. Alright, next the P345 is going to be the black wire again. Alright, we're going to try to get this wire so it's not untangled. Put the tape over it, and we'll work on it. Alright, let's measure that. Just double check, this should be about 20 volts. 16 and yep, 20 volts. Exactly 20 volts. So I'm going to go to P3, P4, P5. This is going to P5. Alright, let's go ahead and cut it about the same length. And I'm going to go ahead and do this again. Put a little of this solder over it. This is a pretty easy fix, but it does take quite a time because you want to double check everything and, you know, do it right the first time, because if you mess up, then you're going to have to do it again and again, and that's going to suck. we got that one good. Alright, that's real solid. Another one there. And shrink it a bit. Okay, that's nicely in there. We're going to go and take the next one out. Getting easier and easier here. Got that out. Go ahead and get it out so it's easier, not tangled. Okay. I'll put some stuff over it. Alright. Okay. Let's go and measure that real quick. $25. Perfect. Alright. Next it's gonna be the next wire. Alright, this one. Yes, about the same length. Cut it. Okay, make sure to put a little bit of solder on both ends here. All right. I'm just going to cover up the other wires because I don't want to burn them off. Alright, I got 4 more wires to go. So this can be really easy. Okay, let's get this black one out. Okay, this came out real easy. Put some insulation around it. Let's get this. I'm going to tape up the rest so it's not in the way because we're working with very small space here. Just hard to navigate here. Okay. Okay, next wire. Alright. Put a heat shrink. And this should be 28.8 volts. So let's just check it. Yep, 28.7. So that's the correct wire. And there it is. Jesus. Alright, that's done. Put that wire aside. Go and grab the other one over here. Alright. Okay. Perfect. 3 more to go, so this is going to be the 3rd one. I'm pretty confident at this point I'm doing it right, so I'm not going to check the voltage. I won't have to. Okay, a bit more base. And I'm going to point this away from everything. Point it sideways and that will be easier to solder. Solder right on top. Alright, almost done. Okay. Sponge. Right. Okay, let's fucking just try to do it. Nope. Put a little bit more solder on there, just to be sure. Yeah, shit. Okay. Now this should be 42 volt, near 40 volts. Just double check the last wiring. It is, yep, 30, 39. So that's the last 12. And we're pretty much done with the balanced wires except for +1 and +2. At this point, you should have everything connected except for the 3 wires, which is just hanging in the void right there. That's fine. Now I can just go ahead and take these out, and I will start to work on. I'm going to go ahead and work on the top part here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take the tab off. Just pull it off. Or I could even cut it off because I don't really need it. I just need to connect the main terminal. But let's just go ahead and solder this away. Now we're just going to try to just solder this out of here. Let's see if this works. Yep. Dig them out. Yeah, it's a little tricky. Okay. Okay, take a break. Okay, guys, almost done. Just a little bit. So all I really need is this is the negative terminal of the whole battery. So I just need one of these, and I need to hot glue this here so it's a little loose, and you don't want it moving around like that. So I've got hot glue. And also you'll need to, I'm going to go ahead and wire up the B negative. Alright, +1, +2. And also I'll have to reconnect this back here. And then I'll put the BMS on top of it. Let's get some hot glue here. So let me go ahead and apply some hot glue on here. Sorry, my hot glue's got a new hot glue gun. This one's broken trigger. Alright, don't really need to do more than that. We're gonna let that dry, and then we'll go ahead and do everything else. Just gonna go ahead and insulate this metal part here because we're not using it. Let's actually make it like this. Alright, and I'm gonna go ahead and insulate this part also because we don't really need it. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and place it back in here. Just like that. Alright, fits in perfectly. Next, I'm going to reconnect this wire here. I'm just gonna make a nice bubble here. And I'm gonna just go ahead and push this back in there. So I need to. I'm going to go ahead and add some solder on top of the wire. Alright, and then we're just going to attach it. gloves. Okay, that's nicely salted in there, and that should be fine. And we need to solder up B minus there. I'm going to go ahead and wire up these two actually. I'm going to go and actually use this part for balancing wire. That way I don't touch this one. So we'll actually use this for there, just at the end. So let me go ahead and grab this one here, P1. I need a little, need a heat shrink. And we're gonna make this a little bit longer so we can reach it. So this is going to be P1 right there in the middle. And we're going to just put a little bit of solder in the middle here. You don't need too much. And go ahead and make sure you put the heat shrink for P1. Right. That's nicely in there. And we got one more balance wire, P2. Oh, we didn't actually need a heat shrink. Let's just leave that on there. Oops. Why did I do that? It's too early. I got up way too early today. And then the next one is going to be P2 right here. So I'm going to make this a little bit shorter than P1. Apply a little bit of solder. And P2, double check, triple check, and let's solder that on there. That should be good. And apply the Kapton tape over. Let's actually go ahead and apply the Kapton tape over anything we don't need anymore. Minus. Okay. As far as this P minus, we're not going to need it, so I'm just going to actually just cut it off. Tape it up. Let's just cut it off right here. And this wire, you can use it for something else. Don't throw it away. And we'll apply hot glue over it later. This is going to be probably too long, so I want to fit it like right over like this. Alright, and I'll hot glue the rest on there. So I just need it long enough for B minus. So the only thing we're left is the B minus up here, and we're gonna hot glue everything. So I'm gonna go ahead and attach this. Let me see if I can put this guy in there. So now I have all the wires connected. Sorry, it's just a mess. Looks like a mess, but it's not. Well, let's do the discharge first. We'll do the discharge. The discharge wire is going to go up here. All right. Let's do a clean cut here. Let's put a little bit of solder on the discharge wire. And this should be a perfect fit, I think. Yeah. It should be. Alright, let's go ahead and just go over. Okay, let me put that wire aside and put some solder over this. Very clean setup, and just a discharge wire right over it. And we should be able to actually charge up the board. And you can see it's powering up. There we go. So now we have power connected. I'm going to disconnect it for right now because we don't need to connect it. And next, I'm going to go ahead and actually use the left guy, since we can just leave that there. So I can use both there. So it'll charge to the left side. So let me go ahead and just measure this up, and I'm going to need about that much exactly. So I'm going to cut that wire. Apply a little solder first to the wire. And apply a little solder here on top of the thing. Sorry, the camera angle. I'll show you after everything's done. And I'm going to solder it this way so I can turn the BMS. Leave it over here and just solder it not just solidly in there. Yep, that's real solid. And that's pretty much it, folks. And I'm going to go ahead and insulate that also. And now everything's insulated. And we're going to connect the BMS. Now everything's connected. Let me go ahead and see if it picks up any charge. Got a. Alright, here we go. Hey guys, so here's a look. I just basically put the B minus. We're not going to use a P minus. The discharge is connected to the negative terminal. We got all the balance wires. I'm not going to hot glue it yet. I'm just going to make sure it charges up. I have a 42 volt charger here. Alright, so if it charges up, that should turn red. And it should balance. So let me go ahead and put it in there. Now we should be charging. No, it's not charging. That's weird. So I forgot one more thing. Is the basically the C minus. So I have it insulated out here. The C minus. So in this particular BMS, the C minus is shared with the P minus. So I'm gonna actually have to. Good thing I didn't cut it all the way out. I'm gonna actually just go and wire the P minus to here. So I'm gonna go and do that. So hopefully we have enough wires. I'm gonna have to splice a wire. So let me go ahead and just make this wire a little bit longer so I can get there. That's in my place like that. And we're gonna go ahead and wire up. Put some solder here. Alright. And get a slightly larger one that'll fit. Yeah, we don't need it super long, so let's just cut it a tiny bit. And we're gonna just go ahead and put this guy a little bit more. And we're just going to go ahead and insulate it. Should be good enough. I think it should charge now. Okay, so that was about. Let's go ahead and charge. And boom shakalaka. So it's charging, folks. My charger is charging. Right, you can see. I unplug it, and I can plug it in, and it's charging. Alright, so it's charging. That should be good to go, but I'll go ahead and double check the voltage after fully charged. Make sure it's at 42 volts. But the rest, I'm going to just go ahead and put everything together and hot glue it. Alright, let's do that. So this particular BMS uses the P minus for both discharge. But we just connect the C minus there. So now I'm going to position these guys. I'm going to go ahead and use the hot glue and just really hot glue these down so they won't move around. So you have a safe ride. And basically hot glue the center here. And as far as the extra wires, I'm going to have to actually move it up a little bit. It might be a little tight fit, yeah, but we should be okay. I'm going to make this a little bit shorter because it's getting in the way like that, and I don't want it to get in the way. So actually I'm going to make a last minute change here. And just basically cut this a little bit, otherwise it's not going to be perfect. Okay, I'm going to cut this just a little bit. It's a little bit too long now. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and redo this like this. Oh, that fucking hurts. Okay, that's on there very tight. And this way I have enough room to go to the right. Right, there's going to be a sort of a tight fit. So I need some room for the wires down here. So I'm just going to first go ahead and hot glue everything over here. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and hot glue these guys so it doesn't move around. I want to get it just like that. Okay, let's just get this hot glued in there. Got this piece I don't need anymore. Go ahead and apply this so it's, oops, there we go. Hot glue against it. It's nice and solid. Alright. And I'm going to hot glue this. I'll get this guy away. There we go. Just like that. And I'm going to hot glue the sides here. So BMS will be nice and tightly in there. Okay. Alright, I'm going to also hot glue all the terminals. That'll keep it safe from, moving. Alright. And also this terminal over here you don't want it exposed. So let me go ahead and just glue it onto the battery terminals there. It's a little messy, but that's fine, it'll work. Okay, the BMS is tightly on there, it's not going to move. Fuck. What voltage is that? Alright, let me just check. We're going to go ahead and connect the USB module Make sure, oh, big spark there. Make sure the voltage is still the same. Let me go ahead and measure the voltage. The battery is full right now, so I'm going to have to actually ride it for a little bit. Battery's at 41.5. Good to go. And I've got it charging. It's charging now. Should charge up to 45. And we can go ahead and connect the wires back here. Can make sure to go under these main motor wires so it doesn't get in the way later. Okay. Board turns on, off, and we're gonna have to just crank these wires. Shouldn't be a huge problem in here. Sorry, I would have made the wire shorter, but first time actually replacing on this Ownboard. We'll get this wire neatly on this side over here, underneath everything. The extra wire, I'm going to just pull it to this side here. It really doesn't matter which side goes. And that way I have enough room to use some silicone to really just pull some wire on this side. There we go. That works. I'll be fine. We'll put some Kapton tape over it so it doesn't move around. Ooh, I made this hot glue way too big. It's okay. It's alright. Okay guys, I'm going to go ahead and silicone everything back up. I'm going to get something to sort of hold this down while the silicone cures, because it's going to take maybe a couple hours at least. Need something heavy. This will do. I'm going to go ahead and put a power bank over it. Now, let's go like this. Apply a little pressure and just silicone these holes here. Oh, let's do it like this. Stick out a little bit. I don't want to stick out too much, then it's gonna put. You know what? I'm gonna have to silicone this side first. When this side dries, I'm gonna move this weight over, silicone the other side. So let me go and let me go and start this side, more crucial side over here. So let me go ahead and silicone everything, and I'll be back. So I went for a ride, came back, tried to charge it, and I hooked it up to my bench meter, and I hooked it up to the regular adapter, and it wouldn't charge. It was getting 0 volts. So I had to open it up again, and I realized it's a USB module. I think somehow this is causing all of the issues with the BMS. And on this particular board, the USB port, the rubber thing that's protecting it, it's been stripped off. And you can see this could cause a short, and that short could have caused the BMS to fail. So I unhooked it, and now I'm getting voltage, and now it's charging finally. Well, I'm getting voltage, so let's go ahead and charge it. We'll set amps to 2 amps. And now it's charging. So the USB module, if you guys have an Ownboard, just open it up and disconnect it, because this will cause your BMS to fail. So I finally figured it out, because I reconnected the BMS USB thinking it's not the problem, but this is clearly the problem. The USB module may be causing all these issues. So maybe Ownboard, maybe you guys should start making boards without the USB module, because this is sort of great to have, but I think this is going to cause a lot of problems because it's not waterproof. The USB can get a lot of moisture. It could short it or use another board. I mean, absolutely, I don't really need the USB there. It's nice to have, but it's causing your BMS to fail. So it might not be your BMS. It could be the USB port that's shorting, and that will basically burn your BMS and make it not work. But you can see it's charging. It should charge to full 42 volts. Then we're good to go. But yeah, I'll be back when this fully charges.